Before the video starts, I want to let you know of two videos you might want to watch before this one. First up is Namine's origin. As the title implies, it's about figuring out where Namine came from, which is somewhat relevant to this video. Next up is actually a response to Namine's origin. Yep, watch me as I address others' concerns and counterpoints for that theory. You may have some concerns yourself from watching it, so go check out that video and it may have the answers you're looking for. So in that last video, we talked about where Namine came from. Now we're talking about what happened when she returned to when she came. Okay, so we know that the nobodies are made of the body and soul left behind when the somebody vanishes. The fate of a nobody is to return back to where they originated from. Working under the assumption of my last video, Namine was born from the portion of Sora's body that was the vessel of Kairi's that assimilated into Sora. That was a mouthful. Anyway, given that Kairi has a new vessel, what could Namine have to offer? The answer to that is the Keyblade. Namine's body was once a part of Sora, so that means it was once a part of the Keyblade Chosen One. However, she wouldn't use his Keyblade because he and Roxas already are using it. Also, I doubt she'd have the heart to be able to summon it. However, once he rejoined with Kairi, she then transferred the right of the Keyblade to her somebody.
You can take it from here, Riku.
There must have been some kind of understanding between Namine and Riku. That is why Riku was able to summon Kairi's Keyblade and hand it to her. I know that may sound far-fetched, but my evidence to support this is in the name of the Keyblade. The names of Keyblades usually coincide with the events in the story that bring about obtaining them. A great example of this is the Keyblade you get from defeating Roxas. Two become one. I don't think I have to spell out what that means. The same thing is true of Destiny Embrace. A nobody returning to their somebody is them embracing their fate.
I always thought nobodies were doomed to fade back into darkness.
Yeah, but you and I didn't. We got to meet our original selves.
All things considered, it makes perfect sense as to why the keychain is a Paopu Fruit. Namine is the best representation of the connection shared between Kairi and Sora. So that's it for this episode. Let me know what you think. That's it for Food for Thought. I made it short and sweet, but if you'd like to hear me elaborate more, then stick around for the secret ending. Would like Food for Thought? Then check out the rest of my channel. Want to see some actually well thought out analyses and theories with a bunch of evidence to back them up? Well then check out my series Deep Dive. Thanks for watching. When did that actually happen? When did Namine rejoin with Kairi? You kind of never really do see that. Well, unless you speculate. So, we see Namine last when she's with Kairi being confronted by Saïx and saved by Riku. And then we see her later after she's already rejoined with Kairi after, the Xemnas boss battle. It would make you think that Namine must have rejoined with Kairi in between those two moments. However, I actually believe it happened before the moment where they were confronted by Saïx. It happened when they first touched hands. That's the moment that they rejoined. Now you might be wondering, well, if they rejoined, how in the world was she in that cutscene? Well, we have actually seen this before. When Sora enters the world that never was, he gets confronted by Roxas. And Roxas appears to be there, but he's not actually. However, only certain people can see the nobody figments. So, in that moment, that first in this moment, only Sora could see Roxas. And obviously the samurais were there because of Roxas, so they could even acknowledge that Roxas was there, but Donald and Goofy couldn't. The same thing happened at the end when Namine showed up and opened a dark corridor. There's two things significant about that. One, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy didn't see Namine. However, Sora, Kairi, and Riku did, showing that certain people can see them and certain people can't, even though they already rejoined with their somebody. Second thing that's significant, this reinforces the whole Destiny Embrace theory, where Kairi has access to certain powers that she wouldn't because Namine is in her. So Namine can use powers and grant those to Kairi. Anyway, so back to that one scene where we do see Namine, but it's after they rejoined. So they're running down the ramp, and it's subtle, but not really all that subtle. It shows like Namine looks really weird, and there's a bunch of wind effects. Something peculiar is going on. I believe the same thing happened when Roxas confronted Sora. It's clear indication that something is up. This is very abnormal. And in between this cutscene and then the next time we see Kairi, Riku hands over Destiny Embrace to her. And I believe my theory is filling in the gaps. Somehow, someway, Namine and Riku work together to summon Destiny Embrace. The second thing I want to do is just to pretty much go over a portion of the main theory, but slower and in more detail. We'll start with where Aqua fits in all of this. So yes, it is true that Aqua unintentionally performed the ceremony, thus Kairi could own her own Keyblade. The right to own one's Keyblade is linked to their heart. We know this because of Xehanort. He transferred his heart to Terra, and now the new vessel has the right to his ancient Keyblade. Okay, so Kairi has the heart for it, so that might make it seem like it's an open and shut case, right? However, that doesn't explain why Riku summoned the Keyblade, nor why she would earn the right to summon the Keyblade in general. So let's break it down. First, just having the ceremony performed isn't enough to actually summon a Keyblade. We know this because of Lee. If Lee, an experienced fighter that knows how to summon a weapon, couldn't just summon the Keyblade right away, then there's no way it would make sense for Kairi to just get one easy peasy. Riku makes even less sense. He at one point was actually the Keyblade chosen one. Sure, it was for like only 5 minutes, but he had the experience of summoning Keyblade. Yet he wasn't able to summon one until about a year later. And once again, the ceremony still doesn't explain why Riku summoned Destiny's Embrace. Now let's talk about the Keyblade chosen one. Unlike the ceremony, any dull ordinary boy can get a Keyblade, just as long as they are the chosen. It's basically like a shortcut. Then let's go over the nobody Keyblade user. Someone might be wondering, well, why is it that Namine couldn't use a Keyblade, but Roxas could? Well, it's simple. They don't have their own Keyblades. Remember, the right to own the Keyblade is linked to the heart. Roxas wasn't using his own Keyblade, he was using the Keyblades linked to the hearts he was connected to. He could use Sora and Ventus's Keyblade because of the Chosen One's shortcut. It's very unlikely that Namine would use the Keyblade because her connection to Sora isn't anywhere near as strong as Roxas's. Obviously, Roxas identifies as Sora and Namine identifies as Kairi. It's clear which of the two would claim the Keyblade. And while it is true there is a second Keyblade that Sora has access to, that is because of Ventus, which obviously Roxas is connected as well, but Namine has no indication of being connected to Ventus. With all of that covered, I can better explain Namine and Kairi needing to work together in that moment to use the Keyblade. Namine had the body that is connected to the Keyblade Chosen One, which grants her the shortcut, but she didn't have a Keyblade of her own. While Kairi has the heart that was given the right to own her own Keyblade, however she doesn't have the proper training to summon one. To become one, and voila, Destiny's Embrace.